Should we just go until, like, the, like, next episode thing, because it just segues right into it?
Oh, Growlmon actually starts crying because Takado's afraid of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it does. And then he like hugs Growlmon and he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry for being afraid of you and whatnot."
So yeah, we're on episode 9 now. Like,
Yep.
there's just a moment where, like, you see a leaf just, like, fly near Growlmon, and it just, like, erupts into flames.
Ah.
And it's like, dang! So he's, like, actually producing, like, super hot, like, heat from his body. But
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a fiery lizard.
Yeah. So yeah, episode 9.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that screenshot you just posted, I'd be afraid too.
Yeah. I'm glad I went back and got this one, because, like, holy crap.
Growlmon's kind of scary.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Hmm.
Yohai, like, gave a bunch of praise to Guilmon's design for being super flexible.
Huh?
Growlmon's design is not flexible.
What do you mean by that?
This is a big, crazy lizard monster with, like, big horns coming out of his head, and he is designed to look effing intimidating.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's well, he's it's a higher stage, so he's more tuned for combat.
yeah, this is a character who is, like, supposed to look really imposing and powerful. And, like, he looks great. This, like, ends up being a weird comedic episode. So, like, I sadly aren't getting screenshots of it, but there are, like, a lot of moments where Growlmon is looking sad and pathetic and rejected, and it just does not work.
Dejected.
Like, it just doesn't work with his design. It looks so weird.
I think it's fine. I think it works.
But yeah, so, like, Takao's scared of Growlmon. He's, like, trembling, and Growlmon starts talking. And it's he's, like, struggling to form words. It's like, oh, I guess that's why champion forms are, like, growling and roaring all the time. Because, like, yeah, they're, like, big lizard monsters, so it's harder to talk.
Which kind of seems odd because the Japanese naming convention of rookie being child and then champion being adult. You think it would be the other way around?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. But yeah, like, also I'll put on the sub, like, maybe it's just the version I watched, but, like, it seems it's not supposed to be Growlmon, it's a Growmon.
It's still pronounced Growlmon.
Yeah, but it's spelled Grow Mon, because he grew big.
But they say growl. They don't pronounce it grow.
So Growmon.
So you're gonna be one of those Gatsu people, huh?
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. That's what the powder is funny. But yeah, it's totally guts anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Just like it's My Hero Academia, not Boku no Hero.
The English title is on the title card.
It's on the volumes. It's on the manga.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this episode is Growlmon is like just he just got the illusion and Takao's like, okay, yeah, now turn back, and Growlmon's like, I can't. And they're like, oh, how do we hide this giant lizard monster?
Well, Takato and Growlmon spend a lot of time trying to undo the evolution.
Yeah, they're like this is a weird gag episode where it's like, oh, is it like sad that Growlmon is like too big? Oh, we have to, gotta find a way for him to change back. Oh man, maybe we should try praying for Growlmon to turn back.
Yeah,
Maybe
first,
prayer will work.
well, the first thing Takato tries is having him just run around in circles and like hop on one leg and kind of like burn off the energy.
Yeah, which makes a lot more sense, honestly.
And then he's like, okay, now sit in this pool of cold water. Maybe it'll cool you off or whatever. And he's like, well, energy comes from the Tamers, so I'll jump in too.
And he's like, hey, maybe God can help us. So like pray it like a shrine and it doesn't work. It's like, okay.
Does it not work?
Well, when you put it like that.
He de-evolves by looking at a rainbow. Are you sure it didn't work?
I have no idea. I'd assume not. I guess that really is the big question of religion. Like, if you try to pray for something and then it comes, but it comes like 50 years later, is that still like, does that count? Like, how much of time should if you're like, oh, hey, like, I wish I got a promotion, and you work for, like, 30 years in an office, and you finally get a promotion, then, like, how much of that was, like, the prayer, and how much was, like, you working for 30 years, you know?
Being raised in a religious household, the answer is, even if it comes way later, it still counts. Because God works on his own time.
Which means, like, either... Whoa. Okay, yeah, I just got a bunch of lag.
I was gonna say, the stream kind of died for a second. That was weird.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, apparently, like, like, God knows the answer. He's trying to tell us. It's like, don't overthink it, death.
Yeah, that's jumping ahead. I think what do they do? They just try to...
Honestly, like, jumping ahead, are we really missing that much?
Not really. They try to find one place to hide him, and it doesn't work for some reason. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, they try to hide him in, like, the underground, like, warway or whatever.
I thought they tried somewhere else before that. Oh, he was just hanging out in where he usually stays.
Yeah.
And then Calamon shows up.
Yes.
There's a scene before where Calamon wakes him up and he's like, "Hey, Calamon wanted to play." And the Takato gets angry and Calamon runs away, and that's it for Calamon this episode.
Yeah. There is a bit where it's like they try and have him in, like, the, like, drainage pipe, and, like, Impmon just attacks him and scares him off.
Yeah, he's also, like... He also shows up and he's like, "Hey, I came all the way out here to visit you and you're sleeping? How rude."
Yeah. Like, Impmon's just throwing fireballs at him, and the instant Growlmon just shoots a fire blast back, Impmon runs off screaming.
Yeah. Itmon shows up at first and he's like, "Wow, this guy got really big." And then Growlmon's like, "Man, go away, I'm trying to sleep." And he's like, "Oh, so he's still like a baby, like, mentally." And he's like, "Alright, I'll throw fireballs at him, that'll be fun."
Yeah. Gee, like, I think there's one other thing to point out. And that's a weird effing bit where Takao's, like, asking Jerry for help.
Yeah, and he's trying to not let slip that he's talking about a Digimon.
Yeah, he's like, so my partner is like, like, a friend of mine got really big recently, and I'm kind of worried about it, so, like, how would I get my friend to become smaller again?
Yeah, Jerry's like sitting there like, what in the world is he talking about? And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, he likes a girl, but she had a growth spurt and got really tall, and he can't see eye to eye with her anymore. And then she's like, you should go talk to a love fortune teller.
You should go talk to Big Mom. I'm sure she's working on something for that. uh,
And then I think Jerry just leaves.
I'm sure that'll have no negative repercussions at all. Just eat the candy, Takano, and then you'll all be the same size. One Piece references.
Yeah, I don't get those.
Yeah. So Big Mom's just like, oh hey, I want all the races of the world to be the same size so we can like sit at a table together. And so she's like, yeah, hey, like, top scientist guy, make a way for people to become big. And he's like, well, I'll try. And he just makes a bunch of candy that gives kids gigantism, and it's horrifying.
Oh, I bet.
And he's like, yeah, well, I could never, like, give her what she wanted, but as long as I gave her something that seemed along the same lines, then, she'd generally just leave my work alone. So he's like, yeah, I was gonna just ride out the wave of this, but then those straw hats wrecked my plans, so, guess I'm kinda screwed now, huh? But yeah, so Jerry just points him to like a love fortune teller. And like that's just the end of that, I guess.
Yeah, Takato's just kind of thinking to himself, well, that didn't help.
Yeah. I'm surprised Jerry's first instinct was tall and not fat, because he's very specifically like, oh, my friend got really big though. Did not go in the direction I was expecting.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Takato wakes up the next morning, grabs some bread, and runs to where Groundmon is hiding, and he's gone.
Yeah, he's just, he like shot it at Mon and just got really tired and fell asleep in the park. Because of course.
Itmon's still playing the tough guy, so when he gets shot at, he's like, I'll let you off free this time, and then he runs away.
Yeah. So the big thing of this episode is like, their big final solution is, hey, what if we just paint Growlmon to be camouflage colored? And it's like there's a big sappy montage of them painting him and getting paint on Terriermon with these giant paintbrushes they pulled out of nowhere.
Well, the scene where they're painting him isn't like sad at all. It's like they're having a bunch of fun.
Yeah, it's like
Terriermon is laughing at Growlmon with all the paint on him, or that they spill paint on his head, and then Terriermon spills a bunch on himself.
It's like this episode feels like just so tonally inconsistent, because like just because you'd see the image of who with the camouflage on, but like remember, like we started out with this, and now we're just sort of like just around to effing like just effing this. It's such a weird episode. And like so much of it just like this feels like filler, Like after the introduction bit of like Takao has to like not be scared of Growlmon, it feels like such filler.
I don't think so. Henry has a little bit where it's like, oh, Gargamon, I gotta get him to de-digivolve, and it's not that big a deal because Gargamon's not that big. And then we have Renamon evolving to Cubimon, and it's such a non-issue for Renamon/Cubimon because I'm going to assume that Cubimon can also just vanish if need be.
Well, we see Cubimon just sort of laying around in the garden and, like, Rika's house, because she has a big traditional Japanese mansion.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there are
So
like places for Cubimon to hide because of course.
yeah, but Takato needs more than just an episode or like a handwave explanation because Growlmont's huge.
I don't know, like, I feel like he could have got like a handwave explanation. Cause like
Well, then
just,
you'd be
oh, he just lives in like the water drainage system. Okay, done.
well, they need to be sitting there like, well, they just something that big. They hid that really.
Yeah, like who's gonna go down the water drainage system when he happens to be champion?
I mean, they tried to put him in the drainage system, and then Imon went and bugged him.
Yeah, and he didn't have to.
But it's totally in character for Imon to do that.
Like, they could have totally just had him be like, just shrugged Imon aside. Imon's like, alright, I'll deal with you next time. He just runs off. Like, just have that be the end of it.
We saw from earlier that that's not how Imon is. Imon will provoke and taunt somebody until they start swinging back.
Yeah, and they could have just went back into the water drainage system.
I mean, that is true, but I'm willing to chalk that up to Growlmont's exhausted because
Yeah,
he keeps getting woken up by people.
but he doesn't need to be because he would just be in the drainage system and that's the end of it, right?
I've been so tired that I don't want to walk.
Like, this is a sort of quote-unquote problem that, like, the creators have just created themselves just for this episode. And it doesn't even really get solved, it just sort of gets glossed over a bit. Like, it's an excuse for gags, right?
I mean, like I said, I think it's totally fine. And whether you want to be like, oh, their prayers were answered and the rainbow fixed it, or that was a coincidence and Guillaume and Gromon just happened to be out of time at that point and digivolved, whatever. But like, I don't know, it's fine.
Like, what really gets me is, like, gags didn't really land. Like, it feels very tonally inconsistent, like, with just, like, back and forth all over the place, with that stuff. Effing, it sort of, like, downplays the whole evolution aspect, it feels like. Because that's usually the big, serious, important thing that everyone's striving for, And, like, it gets to the end, and it's like, like, Rika just makes fun of Takato because she's like, oh, you're such an amateur, like, look how pathetic your Digimon is.
That is a part where it's like, what, Rika, what do you... Oh, it must be nice being able to say this in your nice big Japanese garden where you can easily hide your evolved...
Yeah. Because, like, Takao and Growlmon get the shit end of the stick, and, like, neither of them did anything wrong at all. Like, the universe is just, like, conspiring to shit on them for seemingly no reason. I'm not into it.
Yeah, Rika just kind of shows up, and she's like, "He's so bad at this. Any Digimon could find your partner easily. Renamon, find him," and then she does.
And then just starts raining, and, like, effing Growlmon looks so sad and dejected and just miserable. It's like, but was this in service of, though? Like, you spent an entire episode, like, goofing around over this whole evolution thing, getting the gags out, and now you're expecting me to feel bad about it? It's like, like, it's frustrating, Just one of those episodes where it's like, it's just like, I don't like the direction they're going with this, and I'm frustrated that we're like, trying to do a thing here. But yeah, then like big magic rainbow shows up as like, like Takao's just tugging like Growlmon's arm, crying about how he's been a bad tamer, and like his Digimon is pathetic. It's like, magic.
I think he's crying because nothing they're trying is working, and he's afraid Growlmon's not going to revert.
Yeah. and they're both just pathetic, just covered in paint in the rain, just crying on the ground in the dirt.
Takado's like 10 years old, dude.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to see him, like, acting this pathetic unless there's, like, something he did to kind of, like, well, I don't want to say, like, something he did to kind of deserve it or whatever, but, like, I don't know, in this situation it just feels so unearned that they're, like, getting this treatment, Like, we had that moment where it's like, oh, he doesn't know how to Digimon because he's new at this, and he was, like, crying and running off and stuff. And it's like, okay, that felt fine because, like, he actually didn't think it through. And it's like, okay, yeah, Cav is his fault. Like, the things happening made sense, right? This is like, no, like, we legitimately tried everything and we made all the logical choices we could, and it still ended up, like, backfiring. And, they just feel miserable and sad, and it doesn't feel good to watch.
But everything gets resolved in the end, so whatever.
Yeah, but, like, it's just, like, this weird, miserable moment. Where it's like, oh, this character I like is just, like, effing, like, just sad, just, like, this paint-covered, just pathetic mass. I'm talking about Guillemot, of course, not Takano.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want Guillemot to feel bad. But yeah, there's just epic rainbow, and I guess everything's good now because Guillemot just de-digivolves. And we'll do this all again whenever a champion appears, I assume. Like, probably not, honestly, but still. Like, I just don't like this as a thing, Like, it just hit me such the wrong way. And I'm like, I don't know, like, if I really thought about it, I could probably, like, like, form a really, like, cognitive, just, like, just, like, intricate thing of, like, okay, this is why this, like, affected me like this, because of, like, this, and this. But, like, I don't know, man, I just really didn't like this episode. It's like, it's not the point where I think of, like, oh, this is how they could have done it better. It's just like, nah, this just feels bad. Like, I think parts because, like, one of the worst feelings in the world is, like, just watching comedy just fail for you, right? And, like, a lot of this episode is just, like, jokes that just didn't really land for me. And it's just like, okay, yeah, let's just, keep moving. Let's, get this part over with. And, what are your thoughts, I guess?
I thought it was fine.
Like, just that's it, just fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Like, nothing else really, or whatever?
Not really.
Yeah, just sort of there, just sort of fine, I guess. And, I just didn't care for it. So, like, anything else we kind of want to get into?
Nothing I could think of.
Yeah, these episodes felt really mad at me. Like, you say fine, but, like, I don't know, like, the like, episodes before this point were, like, generally pretty up there, and I feel like, and I feel like, if, like, looking back at those, it's like, I'd say those were, like, a bit more than fine. And, I guess that's it then.
I'll just say this: Tamers doesn't have the same feel as the first two series.
I mean, yeah.
Because by the eighth episode of Adventure 1 and 2, they were in the digital world.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna have the same kind of, like, pacing or tone or whatever.
Like, I think you're right, but I think it's in the other direction, man. Because so far this series has felt like way more serious and like, grounded. Like, I think that's part of what this is for me, because this is like, this just feels just out of nowhere, really. Like, it just feels like a huge tonal shift to like what the series has been up till this point. Like, if like a Tamers episode happened and we just got like a big vat of soup in the city and we got the soup stone incident, like that would feel super weird and out of place. Cause like Tamers is like way just like, well, yeah, more like, kind of more serious and more grounded than that so far. And like, does that make sense? I guess.
Yeah, it would make sense if there is a big soup stone.
I feel like I'm losing you, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll just end it off then. Like, I have no jokes later.
Later.